Hello friends, good evening. Welcome to PDF for Exams YouTube channel. This is day 41. We are learning environment, and in this video we will study about international organization. Till now we have studied everything about environment like introduction, what is environment, biodiversity, ecosystem, and we've even studied about the endangered species, where they are protected, the protected areas in last video we have seen. So in this video we will learn about some international organizations which are important and which are responsible for conservation of the biodiversity which are present on our planet Earth. Fine. So this video is all about international organization and conservation effort. So what actually the problem is? In previous video we have seen, not in previous video, the videos 2 or 3 videos back we have studied that there were certain problems there were certain threats to few species of animals, and the main threat to that species were the habitat. And why that the issue was of habitat was there, it was just because of human intervention like hunting, poaching, habitat destruction, pollution and global warming. So these were the major reason behind the destruction of species, or you can say extinction of species. So in this video we are studying about international organizations. So these organizations are responsible for addressing these issues like habitat destructions, poaching, pollution and global warming. These are the issues which we have already studied, whereas the organization which we are going to study in this video are responsible for addressing and tackling the issues related to these problems. Okay. Since the name itself suggests that this is an international organization, so these organizations work internationally. That means it doesn't function only in one country. It has to be a group of countries. That means these organizations belong to a group of countries. The member of these organizations are different countries, and it functions across the world wherever the requirement is there. Fine. And the main function is to analyze, track, conserve the global environment. This is main function of all the international organizations that we are going to discuss today. And these international organizations work at different level. As I already said, it's not necessary that they will work only in one country or only at international level. This can work at international level, regional level and even at some local region also, or local level. So the first international organization that we are going to study is International Geosphere Biosphere Program, or in short it is said as IGBP. So this was launched in 1987. And why it was launched? To coordinate international research on global scale, regional scale interaction between Earth's biological, chemical and physical process and the interaction with human system. Okay. So this was a broad perspective of this organization. That means it was not working on very small scale. It was working on global scale. Global scale means entire Earth was considered in this International Geosphere Biosphere Reserve, and it was responsible for tackling issues related to any of the biological aspect, or you can say any biodiversity which is present on the Earth. The key element of this IGBP was the planet under pressure and transformation in era of rapid global change. So global change, there is very rapid global change. We can see urbanization is taking place everywhere. Villages are converted into urban cities, forests are being cut for agriculture practices, and even many industries are built so that this global change can occur at faster rate. And because of this faster global change, there are lots of issues to biodiversity, several biodiversity present on the Earth. Okay. Now this IGBP is a world-class provider. It provides the Earth system expertise. That means whatever is happening on and in the Earth, it provides expertise, it provides information about it. Communication, coordination. Now if anything has been found, like some issue has been found, it has to be communicated from one place to another place so that issues can be found, so that issues can be resolved. And coordination is also required to tackle any issue. As we know, the nature doesn't have any boundary. It is spread all over the planet, and since it is present all over the planet, we can't divide some geographical boundary. There are few places where we can't divide any geographical boundary. So in that case we need coordination from several countries, several states, several villages at local level, so that proper functioning can be done. Okay. Now this IGBP research, it organized around 6 projects representing the Earth system. So there are 6 projects in all, which is the highlight of this IGBP research. So IGBP, as I said, it functions as information body, and it researches and provides the problem whichever are there. So the 6 projects are land, atmosphere, ocean, and where they meet, the land atmosphere, land ocean and atmosphere ocean. And apart from this, there are 2 further projects like Earth system as a whole. So it also studies Earth system as a whole. Example is past global changes. Okay, and apart from this, there are few four joint projects like carbon, water, human health, and food security. So this was the first international organization which we have studied. The next international organization is World Nature Organization. So it began in 2010. So see, these are just factual information. There is no concept involved in this video, but still I'll try to take you through quickly all these international organizations. I'll tell you all the important points which are necessary that you should know. Fine. Although you should know the current affairs related to these organizations. That means if these organizations are taking any actions, so you should know that things, because those things would be asked in the examination, whereas there could be few options if you are appearing for prelims, because prelims is first examination. So in prelims exam there could be some option from its static part also. For that very purpose we are studying this static part, or else most of the questions arises from current affairs in this segment. But still you should know the static part, like what is the aim, objective, when it was found, what are the member countries, not exactly, but at least you should have a rough idea about these things. Okay. So this World Nature Organization, it began in 2010, and all the developing countries which were threatened by climate change took part in this World Nature Organization. Why these developing countries were threat to climate change, or why it was the problem over there? Because as we know, any country which is developing, everyone is in race of being developed. All the country want to be a developed country or developed nation. So in this race, they have to exploit their natural resources as much as possible. And because of exploiting, or you can say over exploiting their natural resources, climate change occurs very drastically. Okay. So the developing countries which are located around the Pacific Ocean and Caribbean, and few countries of Africa, these are the part of this World Nature Organization, or these action are considered done in these part. And this preparatory commission, it was given in 2012, but because of lack of interest, this agreement was unsigned. Actually, this World Nature Organization, this could not come into existence because of lack of interest of certain countries, or the member countries you can say. And it had to come in effect in May 2014 as planned, but it could not come up because there were certain issues like promote economically friendly business, technological industry. It was goal. So these were the goal, like to promote economically friendly business and technology energy activities. These were goal of this World Nature Organization, but due to uninterest of these nations, it cannot come into effect. Okay. The next organization that we have to study is Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. So here we can see an important term, carbon. Forest carbon actually. So carbon, we know this very well. Carbon is present in many forms like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. So it's not present in many forms, and because of this, it is very much related to our environment. So in global partnership of government, business, civil society, over here in this Forest Carbon Partnership Facility, there is partnership between government, business, and civil society. So all three global partnership can be found in this Forest Carbon Partnership. Fine. And its focus is on reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation, which is called as REDD+. So this term you have to remember, REDD. What is this? This is focus on reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation. Fine. And forest carbon stock conservation, the sustainable management of forest and enhancement of forest carbon stock in developing countries. So these were its goal, or you can say their objective. Now there are strategic objectives. So there are certain, see, overall we study aim and objective. Aim means single aim, or you can say there can be multiple aim. But whereas objective means how or what exactly it has to be, how or what exactly the organization has to do. So talking about the strategic objective of this FCPF, it is to assist the countries in their REDD. What was the REDD? We have already seen over here. Just a minute. REDD was reducing the emission, from deforestation and forest degradation. So it has to assist the country in their REDD, in reducing their deforestation emission, and provide some financial and technical assistance and building the capacity to build. So all the financial help and technical help are provided by this partnership to the countries who want to meet their REDD, REDD+, that is reducing their emission. Okay. And apart from this, they also test and explains the way how they can sustain and enhance the livelihood in local communities and conserve biodiversity. As we can already see, that for the global partnership between government, business, and civil society. That means community is somehow involved in this. So that's why community conservation also needs to be an important part of it. Now talking about FCP's funding mechanism. So there are two funding mechanisms. One is complementary funding mechanism. So this is the readiness fund and carbon fund. So these complementary funding mechanism is divided into readiness fund and the carbon fund. So in this case, this multi-donor funds of government and non-government entity, including private company, that make minimum financial contribution to $5 million. So this is the minimum contribution which all these private companies, government entities, and non-government entities, these in all make a financial contribution of around $5 million. Contributors to readiness fund are known as donor participant, whereas contributors to carbon fund are known as carbon fund participant. Okay, so in simple, in case of readiness fund, they are known as donor participant, but in case of carbon fund, they are known as carbon fund participants. If we talk about the governance, in governance means how they are governed, how this body is governed, then FCPF currently has 47 red countries. 47 red countries means the countries which are reducing their emission or which are taking part in reducing their emission or by forest degradation or forest deforestation with the help of FCPF, and that is 18 in Africa, 18 in Latin America, and few Caribbean countries, and 11 Asia Pacific countries. World Bank assumes function of trustee and secretariat. So World Bank is one of its trustee, and secretariat means the administration function is governed from the World Bank. It is a part of the administration function actually. Okay, so this is all about FCPF. Next international organization that we have to study is the United Nations Environment Program. We have also discussed about this in last video, but here we'll see what actually it is. So it is leading global environment authority that sets the global environment agenda. What is global environment agenda? Environment agenda globally means whatever problem is there all around the world. For example, ozone layer depletion. This is common to everyone living on this planet. So this is a common global environment agenda. Global warming. Global warming is not just because of one country, it is because of several countries. So this is also a global environment agenda. So this United Nations Environment Program, this is authority and it sets these kind of agenda, and after that several actions are taken place on those agenda by members country. And its mission is to provide leadership and encourage partnership and carrying all this environment by inspiring, informing and enabling nations and people to improve their quality of life without compromising the future generation. So this what we call is improving quality of life without compromising future generation. It means sustainable development. Okay, so UNEP or United Nations Environment Program, it functions into 7 broad areas. What are these areas? Climatic change, disaster and conflict, ecosystem management, environment governance, chemical and waste, resource efficiency and environment under review. So these are the 7 broad area in which this United Nations Environment Program functions. Okay, and every year this organization honors and celebrates individual or institution who are doing outstanding work in either of these 7 themes. Next important organization is the Partnership for Action on Green Economy, that is PAGE. So this was launched in 2013, and why it was launched? It was launched to support those countries wishing to embark on greener and more inclusive growth trajectory. Okay, so over here it's mentioned green economy. So the countries which want to grow economically, or you can green economy, or else you can say without over exploiting the natural resources, that would be partnership, or that would be under the Partnership of Action on Green Economy. So this seeks to put sustainability at heart of economic policy. That means, see, every country makes their policy, social policy, economic policy. Lots of policies are being made by government of every country. So the function of this organization is to implement the sustainability of this kind of growth, this green economy growth, in the heart of all economic policy, whatever are being made by several countries, so that their economic policy, whatever economic policy are being framed by government, they do not harm the environment. Okay. So moving further, PAGE brings together this organization. It brings together several international organizations like UN Environment, International Labour Organization, UN Development Program, UN Industrial Development Organization, and UN Institute for Training and Research. And it also mandates expertise and network combined for integrated and holistic support to countries inclusive green economy, ensuring coherence and avoiding duplication. So, in simple terms, if we have to understand, PAGE is an organization which supports all the countries to form their economic policies in such a manner that they don't harm environment. And apart from this, it brings several UN agencies like United Nations Environment, International Labour Organization, Development Programme, Industrial Development Organization, and other United Nations organization, so that they can provide their expertise and network in an integrated manner in order to inclusive green economy can be adapted by all the countries. Okay, so this is all what we understand by this partnership of action on green economy. Next is Climate Action Network. So this Climate Action Network, or you can say CAN in short, so this is a worldwide network of over 1300 non-government organization and is more than in 120 countries. What is this non-government organization? NGO. That means it is actually non-profitable organization which works socially for the backward people, or you can say the people who do not get the proper food, house, shelter, or whatever they don't give, the basic necessities are not fulfilled. For those people, these NGOs work. So these Climate Action Network is a network which is present in 120 countries, and around 1300 NGOs are working along with it, and it promotes the government and individual action to limit human included climate change to ecologically sustainable levels. Okay, so it has a certain strategy on international, regional and national climate issues, like whatever individual or government policies, or any company, you can say any industries, because of these entities, if there is harm to environment, so this Climate Action Network provides solution to them, and it's prohibit them to performing those kind of action. In simple terms, this is what we understand is Climate Action Network. Next is Global Alliance on Climate Smart Agriculture. So by the name itself it is clear. Smart agriculture means this organization is responsible for practicing smart kind of agriculture, so that the land is not overexploited, you can say, and produce a good output. So we can say it includes voluntary and action oriented multi-stakeholder platform on climate smart agriculture. So any person, whether it will be a farmer, an individual, any institution, or any government, can take part voluntarily in it and can support this smart agriculture. And it's not voluntary, it's not necessary that if any member has taken part, or is member of this global alliance, has to function or has to give some steps or has to participate in smart agriculture. It's not necessary, it does not force anyone. It's up to them whether they want to actively take part in it or not. So three aspiration outcome of this Global Alliance of Climate Smart Agriculture are: improve farmers' agriculture productivity, so build farmer resilience to extreme weather and changing climate, reduce greenhouse gas emission associated with agriculture when possible. Okay, talking about the members, as I said, it is a voluntary platform open to government, international, regional and organization. Anyone can participate in this Global Alliance of Climate Smart Agriculture. Okay. The next organization is Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. So it was created in 1988 by the World Meteorological Organization. What is this World Meteorological Organization? So meteorological department is generally responsible for giving prediction on climate change or weather or season. So we have in India IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. Similarly, there is a department as World Meteorological Organization. So the organization, or by the name itself, it is clear what would be the function. So it generally gives the input to various agencies, so that they can function, they can make their strategies, or they can make their policy accordingly. Okay, so there are 195 members countries who would participate in this international intergovernment panel of committee climate change. And talking about the report, they are key input to international climate change negotiation, as I already said about it. Okay, so there are several scientists, volunteers. Those scientists volunteer their time. They does not take any charge, or they are not paid for their volunteering action. They volunteer their time by themselves to access thousands of scientific papers published each year. Okay, and very open and transparent review system is also there, so that all issue could be resolved easily. Moving further, what else we have? United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. So this was established in 1992 when countries adopted the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And apart from this, Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. So these three agreements. These agreements are very important and support global response to threat of climate change. Okay, and at present its secretariat is in Germany, Bonn. Bonn is a place in Germany and its secretariat is over there. And these are the function of secretariat. We already know how a secretariat functions, so we'll quickly see. The secretariat support a complex architecture of body that serve advanced implementation of the convention, technical expertise, and what else, organization support between 2 or 4 negotiating session each other. So it's simply function as an administrative body for these organizations. Next is International Union for Conservation and Nature. So IUCN is a membership of United composed of both government and civil society organizations. So this International Union for Conservation of Nature, it's not that only government participants are there, it is government as well as civil society are present. Important factor about this is that about this organization you just need to know that it publishes Red Book, and in Red Book all the endangered species are listed. So you just need to know this point about this, and you have to keep yourself updated which species has been added in the Red Book of IUCN. This was just important about this topic. Okay. Next is Global Climate Change Alliance. So this was established by European Union in 2007. So almost every international organization or environmental international organization which are being made, their function or their work would be to take care of the environment or habitat of the endangered species. Okay, so it has several goals. Its main goal is to boost the efficiency and response need of vulnerable country and group. So everything would be common. I don't think so we need to go through every and all the organization. So this Green Climate Fund, it was very responsible for funding all the environmental activities which is taking place. So this was very crucial. It served in Paris Agreement, and it was helpful in reducing the temperature up to 2 degrees centigrade. Okay. And what else we have to study in this video? Worldwide Fund for Nature. So this is some fund organization which provide fund for all kind of impact or problems in environment, and this was later renamed as World Wildlife Fund. But still in America the name remains same. Sorry, America and Canada. Yes, in America and Canada its name is Worldwide Fund, but now it is known as Worldwide Fund for Nature. So yeah, this is all about the international organization. I hope these organizations are very much clear to you. If you have any issues regarding these organizations, please ask in the comment box. I'll try to discuss them in next video. Thank you for watching. See you in next video with new topic, and hope your preparations are going very well. Okay, till then, goodbye. Try there.